Hey everybody, welcome to another Ryan and Rodrigo. And today we're very lucky to have one of my students. Alessandro is here, and he's coming to us all the way from Belém in the north of Brazil. So welcome, Alessandro. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Now I'm in vacation, so I'm really fine. Actually, I'm great.
Good for you. Congratulations on your vacation. Um, and Alessandro, I'm curious. What are you doing in Belém? What is it that you're? It's not like the most popular place in the world. So, what what took you up to Belém?
Actually, I'm here on business. I was on honeymoon, just married, and then my boss called me, and he told it was on Tuesday, and he told me on next Monday you have a meeting in Belém at 2 p.m. and we expect you be there to live as long as the project will be in the initial phase and start to run. So now I'm here.
and and so, what do you do? You're a project manager, but what kinds of projects do you manage?
I'm graduate in environmental engineer, and now I'm in projects in energy, more focused in the environmental issues. But
Hmm.
my background is in environmental audits projects.
Environmental audits. What are environmental audits? Can you explain a little bit about what those are exactly?
Yes, we have uh, some kinds of audits. One is just for compliance when you go to the company to check if they are meeting the legal requirements. There is other kind of environmental audits that is corporate when we check if the corporate guidelines are being followed by the other companies. There is a very common that is due diligence in process of selling, merge, acquisition, and when you assess the environmental issues and you provide a cost estimation to fix what is not in compliance with. There is other, which is my favorite one. It is for financial institution. It is Equator Principles and IFC guidelines. This is some guidelines that you assess in a project when they are in the engineering phase, then you follow during the construction phase and for some years on the operation. Then we see if they are following all the requirements that they sign with the financial institution related to environmental, social, and health and safety.
Wow.
This is my favorite one because we start to work in a project since the very beginning, and you can do the difference on all the aspects: environmental, social, and health and safety. Very,
That
very
sounds
nice.
very complicated, very complex. A lot of things go into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and we always have a multidisciplinary team working because we need a lot of expertise. It depends on the project that you are assessing. And I had experience in thermal power plant part and wind farm.
Mm.
One question I have is, do you do mostly administrative work like in the office, or do you also do technical visits? Do you also do uh, field work?
I was most involved in field work
Yeah.
because on these projects we manage a huge portfolio of small projects, so there is not a lot of paperwork to do in the project management. So it's a small project. You have a lot of them, but all of them is just really small. So I was in the field, and I was the lead auditor for majority of them.
And now with the pandemic, you've been working from home, right?
Yes, but now I assigned just in one project. It's a
Okay.
huge project here in Barcarena, Pará.
And how does it feel to be working, uh, like to be doing technical visits and working and having field work, and then all of the sudden you had to stop? Like, no, now work from home. How do you feel about this?
This is, I think it's an everyday challenge because I am used to travel a lot. And on this project, I am fixed working just in one facility in Barcarena, Pará State. And I am used to do with a lot of people talking to the team, and now just at home doing just the interface using meeting Google Meetings and Microsoft Teams. This is really, I would say, cold for me. I'm Brazilian, so of course I like to be with people talking. So, and there is other thing that I don't like on this how long this long time work in home office is due to the energy. I think here we have
Hmm.
the same energy of my place to rest, and now it's mixed with the place where I work.
Hmm.
So I think there is some mix of energy that I don't like. Uh, Before the pandemic, here was my place to relax, to enjoy other things of my life. So I woke up, I walked to the office. This time enough to was sufficient to start to think about the work. Then I have the day long to work, and then I come back to my home. So I was leaving things of work on the way, and then I was at home. But
This
now,
was a it was a place to disconnect a little, right?
yes. But
Okay.
now we wake up, we see the computer, you start to work and take breakfast. Sometimes you
Hmm.
don't have time. You lunch, have meetings. So
Mm.
in order to have to do a better control, we are have a lot of meetings. So we are all the time with connected. So this is something that I am not happy about. I prefer to separate.
Yeah, I definitely know and feel what you're talking about. Like even though before the pandemic I didn't work in an office, I didn't have this kind of lifestyle. I still like miss being able to go and see my students, to
Mhm.
see them face to face, because that travel, that space between my house and my students gave me time to like separate my lives,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
And I don't know, do Alessandro or Rodrigo, do you guys have any tips or tricks, things that you've learned over the last year to try to make this situation better?
Uh, we saw a lot of tips, but on the day by day, it's really hard to follow. What we and if possible, I think it is very good. We wake up early, then we exchange our clothes to be really prepared for the office. Then you take some brief pauses along the day. You have a very well planned day. Times to have lunch, times to stop to have some coffee, and times to work. But on day by day, it's not so easy as we saw. So I think the best is you do what's possible to separate, but in my experience, it was really hard.
Yeah, it is. It really is hard, especially I stay home. My wife works in a hospital, so she never had to stay home. I stay home with my son,
Hmm.
uh, and it, it's it's I don't know if it's easier, but it's simpler for me because I can make my schedule. I
Hmm.
can I have my classes and I like place them in in strategic places. So, for example, from 11 to 1 or 12 to 2, I'm always free, or most of the time, most of the days, I'm free to make lunch and to have lunch with my son. Uh,
Hmm.
I work every other hour, so I always have a space between classes. I try to always have. At
Hmm.
night, of course, my wife is here and she's with my son, so I work 3 hours straight, 3 or 4 hours straight. But it's exactly what Alessandro said. It's a daily challenge. Every day is a new day that you have to like you try to plan, you
Hmm.
try, but then for me it's easier. But for Alessandro, uh, it might be a little more difficult because Alessandro, we have a meeting in 15 minutes. Eh, um, ah, but we didn't have a meeting. No, it's a new meeting. Just so you planned your whole day, and they called you. We have a
Hmm.
meeting. Get in.
And sometimes there is no this short notes. Oh, do you have some time to discuss this subject? Yes, I
Yeah.
have. And this sometimes lasts more than 1 hour.
Yes.
So
So.
this few minutes is not few minutes sometimes. And I work with people from Norway, and you have the time difference from here
Oh.
to there. So we need to work and to accommodate everyone's schedule. It's not easy. It's interesting. I think had a lot of learnings about this. I think the mainly one is to be flexible, to understanding, because it's not only me, it's not only me that is in this situation. Everyone is in the same situation. So you need to be really understandable about the challenges of everything, to be flexible. But again, when you are talking, it's very easy. But on the day by day, it's really a challenge.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. So earlier you said you talked about how you've traveled a lot. You've been to many different places for your what did you your field work, your field work places.
Mhm.
Um, and um, the first place I want to ask you about are like places closer here to Brazil, like in South America. So where are some places in South America that you've worked? Like, what are some of the countries that you've worked in around here?
Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, Colombia, and Venezuela.
Venezuela.
Yes.
When were you in Venezuela?
I think was 2015,
Yeah.
2016, something like that.
All right. So I'm curious about Venezuela. Is it as apocalyptic there as everyone says? The like general wisdom about Venezuela is that the entire country is collapsing and that it's a wasteland of destruction.
There's a
Like,
civil war. People are fighting on the streets. There's people shooting everywhere. This is the image we have uh, from Venezuela.
I was there working, and I had a lot of security around me. So I did, and I was in some place where I didn't see this kind of violence. But what I saw there is the collapse of the economy. And before we went to there, I received a lot of safety and security instruction from the company. And when I read that, I thought, oh my God, this is exaggerated. It's not all this. But when I arrived in Venezuela, in the airport, I took a cab, uh, and the drive told to me, "Okay, it's clear that you are not from Venezuela." I laughed. Oh, why not? My Spanish, because I don't speak Spanish, but I thought my Spanish is not so good. And he told, well, it's your face and everything. It's clear that you're not from here. Just a piece of advice: please do not walk alone. Do not go to anywhere without security because you have a lot of kinds of kidnapping of foreigners, mainly people that are here working in exchange of money, sometimes drugs. And when I heard this of a local, I started to feel maybe it's not so safe as I was thinking. When I arrived in my room in the hotel in Caracas, there is an announcement, and please do not open your door to anyone. If someone knock in your door, even you check if it is with the hotel
ID.
closed, please call to reception to make sure that you send someone talk to you because here there is a high risk of being kidnapped, mainly people that are here for work. Then I saw that safety and security there is really poor. And it's really clear because what I saw in Caracas, in I forgot the name of the Maracaibo, and a lot of small cities that I visited. I traveled a lot in small cities in Venezuela. We saw that there the economy is really collapsed. I was in the Caracas airport in a Burger King, and I my French fries was with no salt. Then I asked for salt to put, and the person that was there, he told me, "We don't have salt. The salt that there's no the shipment of salt not arrived, so we don't have salt."
It's crazy.
So that's it.
Wow.
I saw a lot of drugstore. The It's empty, no medicines, nothing, because everything is controlled by the government. On that time, it was in this way, and there is nothing. I saw a lot of big lines in some markets, and I asked what was that, and people told me that on that day there was a distribution, for example, of chicken. So according, they told me every place was given chicken. So there is a very long line to get chicken, and that's it. We cannot buy anything that you want. You have
I
just
I remember a couple years ago reading an article about Venezuela, and it was like a I don't know if joke article is the right word because it was very sad, but it was all right. So the article was talking about condoms,
mhm,
and it was saying that to buy it took a day's salary to buy one condom
yeah.
in Venezuela.
I- i-
And the article was talking about it like it was a joke, like ha 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 ha. But when you stop and think about that for a second, it's very tragic. It's not actually very
Yes,
funny.
it's really tragic. And you have some paradises because in the hotel You have everything that you want. The hotels that I was in, every place we had everything. But I was in an office of a big company, and there is no toilet paper.
So
Yes, I was
so
in an office of a
what
very
happened?
big company. You need to use the notebook, the the regular paper of
Or
books
or
and
the money. Use the money
current.
as toilet paper, right? Because
Yes, but
it's
there was
useless.
no toilet paper. And I was in Maracaibo, not
My
in small
Big
God.
place.
city.
Yes, big city. Maracaibo, I think it's like São Paulo in Brazil.
Yeah.
The capital there is Caracas, but I think the most industrial city is Maracaibo. I think the same as in
Okay.
Brazil. The capital is Brasilia, but São Paulo is
Uh-huh.
big. I think that's there. And the most delicious pasta that I ever had was in a hotel in Maracaibo.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a fusilli with, I don't know the word in English, but with truffle.
Truffles.
Is
Truffles.
truffles. Yes,
Yeah.
I
Ah,
had
that sounds
there.
good.
Very cheap and just amazing.
Wow.
So
Nice.
in a hotel you could have truffles, but
Yes,
outside the hotel you couldn't have toilet
Toilet
same.
paper.
paper.
Yes.
My God.
And for example, in the company that I was doing the audit, they have some cars that they use to as reposition pieces of the others because you don't have, for
Right.
example, glass, you don't have a tire, so you have three and
To make
two
one.
to make one. You are using this. So the cab there is no the mirrors, it's no the
This
glass. I took
this
a
sounds
cab that
like
there's plastic to
this
isolate.
sounds like North Korea. That's what this sounds like.
Yes, and
Where they're like,
and I saw a lot of crude oil.
yeah,
They had a lot.
we're like a part of the country, protected part of the country has everything. Is very
Hmm.
rich, has truffles, right?
Hmm.
But the vast majority of the country has nothing. Nothing at all.
Hmm. And just a last point about security there. In our first meeting, we are deciding what place we would visit to do the audit, and the general manager show us a map with a huge red line in some areas, and he told us on these areas we are not allowed to go because it's high risk.
Hmm.
We have some engineers that was kidnapped there. There is a problem that the Colombia on that time was doing a good job against the traffic,
Fark.
and they are migrating to Venezuela. And one person of that company told us that his family had a big farm on that region, and the FARC went there, kidnapped his brother, and his father needed to give the farm in exchange of the son on that region. So things that are not, we don't believe until you are living and see what is happening. And I told you it was the last, but this is, I promise, it's the last from Venezuela. One day we are in a very small city. I think it's Leona, the name. I don't remember the name. And in front of the hotel, we work until late, and then we missed the time of the breakfast. And in front of there was a bakery. And we are discussing, yeah, just cross the street. We go there to take a coffee. As soon as I just said this, eu quero espresso. That was the what I said. One people just came on my side Oh, you're not from Venezuela, right? Where are you from? I left everything then and come back to Hotel running, and I don't know what happened
Yeah.
there. But but it is a very beautiful country, natural, very beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and people that you can talk, very nice people, and it's hard to explain to understand what happened to that.
Something I wanted to ask you about all of South America is if you think, I mean, you said you've been to Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Venezuela. You're, of course, from Brazil and worked in many places all around the country. If you think there are some things that are true all around South America, are there some things that unite South Americans together, even though the rest of South America speaks Spanish, and Brazil we speak Portuguese here. Venezuela, of course, has its own shit to deal with. There's lots of differences. But have you noticed anything that really brings everybody down here together in all of your travels?
Yes, I think the people are almost the same. We like to talk, we like to hug, we are effective, and we demonstrate that. And every place that I was, I felt welcome. So people are nice to welcome others and to do the best to make like you are at home. So I think this is something that we saw a lot of places here. Some small difference in Buenos Aires, but Buenos Aires is Buenos Aires. They are different of everything, everywhere. But
No,
and
I'm
people
just
from
laughing.
Argentina tell this to me because
I'm just laughing because that is like the most stereotypical Brazilian attitude ever. Is that I love everyone except Argentinians.
no, but Argentinians are very nice, but the porteños,
Yeah.
people from Buenos Aires, the problems are there. But I had some nice colleagues from Buenos Aires office. I stayed there for almost 1 month, and it
Mhm.
was really nice. But no question that they think that they are superior of the others. This is no
This
question on that.
uh, this week, the president of Argentina, he tried to quote a Mexican book. He tried to say a nice sentence, but he said it differently. He said it in a very bad way. So he said that Brazilian people come from the jungle, the Mexican people come from Mayan and Aztec. I don't remember exactly from native
Mhm.
people, and that Argentinian people they come from boats. They come from. He didn't say boats. The original sentence was that Brazilian come from the jungle,
Mhm.
Mexican come from native people, and Argentinians come from boats. That was the original. It's a poetic line of a Mexican author, and he made a mess. And he said that but us Argentinian come from Europe, and it sounded horrible. It sounded very racist, and it was. Uh,
Yes,
and so this is what you're talking about the people from Buenos Aires.
yes.
They
They
consider
think
themselves European.
yes, they think that they are French. They that Buenos Aires is the South America Paris. It is a really nice city, but there are problems like everywhere. And I like to be in Buenos Aires. I like to, but people from there, some of them have this sense that they are superior. Okay, we can live with that.
Yes.
But I think in South America, people are really warm people, people that like to be with other people and to make people feeling good in their own country and to willing to help you when it's possible. I think this is really common.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So you said something just now that caught my attention. and it is about Buenos Aires people thinking that they are superior, and it made me wonder if people from Sao Paulo also have this attitude, and if you ever thought that when you were younger, when you were growing up in Santo Andre, if you ever thought that the people in the big city, people in Sao Paulo, were ever like snobs, if they felt superior to everybody else. Was that some attitude that you felt people in Sao Paulo had?
No, I think
No?
in my case, since the metropolitan region, it's almost the same city. So I felt that I was from São Paulo as well. But when we consider that people, mainly people from São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, they have some prejudice against the north and the northeast. This is a fact, and we still have this. When I moved to Belém, Belém is 2 hours and a half far from Manaus. It's really far. And people think that what happened in Manaus happened here. But it's not the same, it's totally different. And a lot of people thought, no, where you live there, there is a seat, how is it? And I thought, it's a seat that more than 1 million people. It's a really great seat. But the people in mainly São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, they have a lot of prejudice against the north and northeast. It's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But in my case, I lived in Santo Andre, and for me, I didn't see people from the São Paulo seat being superior.
Yeah,
Okay.
I never had that experience either. Um, but the the prejudice against people from the Northeast is real. It's not a um, most of the times it's not a declared prejudice, but it's just like racism. It happens all the time everywhere, and the result is that you all. It's very easy to see the prejudice because northeast people, northeast people, and black people are always in the in the in the poor places. They are
Mm-hmm.
always they're never part of the big life. They are always uh, kind of separated. They are always in the margin. So it's easy to see that. But it was never declared like, oh, I hate this or that. No, it's just something that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So then another place, if we go outside of South America, that you've spent some time is Asia. Yeah, you've been
Yeah.
to China and Japan, right?
Correct. China for vacation, in Japan to work.
Where in Japan and China were you? What cities? What places?
In China, only in Beijing, and in Japan, I was in Okinawa.
All right.
It's an
And
island, I think 2 hours and a half flight from Tokyo.
yeah, I actually went to the trouble and got a map here so everybody can see exactly where Okinawa is. It's the little. You guys can't see it, sadly, but everybody watching can. It's the little pin there is Okinawa, and it's really far to the south, you can see. And you were also in Beijing,
Yes.
and you can see that on the map too. It's up there. So that's where he was. And, well, first let's start with where you were working. You were working in Okinawa?
Yes, I did an audit and a refinery and a port there. Really nice experience.
Yeah? I've
Yes.
heard that Okinawa is like very different from the rest of Japan. But I guess since you haven't been to the rest of Japan, you can't make
Yeah, I
that
can.
comparison.
What I heard that they had, they suffered the prejudice of the other parts of Japan. I don't know if this is real, but I heard this there. because they are not so white as other people, and they have a lot of influence from China because it is close
Mm-hmm.
close of China, and that's what I heard there. But it's a really nice island, really clean, like I assume that all Japan is. We don't have any trash can in any place. I didn't see a trash can to put my garbage. No,
But
but
you also didn't see any garbage, right?
yes,
Like, where does the garbage go if it doesn't go in a trash can?
that's my question
Is a
because I
mystery.
bought a bottle of water, and when I finished to drink, I lost the bottle in my hands, and I stayed all night. I think all the evening with this. I needed to put in the hotel back because there is no trash can to put my bottle of water. And, but we don't see a leaf here. We don't see anything. The
Mm-hmm.
way from the hotel to the company, I saw a lot of elderly people doing the maintenance on the street to remove the, how can I say, the small vegetation, to clean in some parts. The community takes care, and this is really really interesting to see there the involvement.
And Okinawa itself is almost tropical, right? It's got warm sandy beaches. It's like Brazil, like the climate, right? It's very warm.
Yes, it was really warm there when I was there. It's like 40 degrees.
It's so hot.
It was
It's
really
too hot.
really hot. Yes, it was. And the day that we were there, we received the announcement that typhoon would be there, and we all the instruction to stay in the hotel, make sure that the hotel had also all the suppliers that we may need for at least 1 week. I get scared when I
Mm.
saw that, and but the typhoon was had a deviation and did
Okay.
not pass. He was, I think, 300 kilometers far from Okinawa. And during 2 days, we had a lot of winds. And we saw the cars moving in the park lot. The cars like moving, the trees just going to there, and a lot of rain. Considering that the typhoon was 300 kilometers far from there, I don't imagine how it would be if he crossed the city, but it was an interesting experience because if there's things, this is things that you are not used to prepare, make sure that you have suppliers enough, and all the instructions that because we may have with no electric power some days and things like that. Other thing that I was a little bit scared. All over the city, there is some information how to deal in case of tsunami.
Yeah.
This is a high risk area. There is the escape route
Mm.
where it should be the meeting point. It's, it's a little bit scared to see that.
That happened when I took my wife for the first time to visit Oregon, which is also on the Pacific coast, right? And we have earthquakes and volcanoes like right there. Just in 1980 was when Mount St. Helens erupted, and it blocked out the sun and rained ash for like a week and a half. This is very recent. And there are tsunami warnings, just like you were saying, and all of these plans for people to deal with tsunamis. And she was very like freaked out because
Yes,
for
I understand
Brazilian
her.
people to have to like think about earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, hurricanes, so, like all of
Yeah,
these things, it just is not part of your reality. So it's very
no. I saw this signals in Chile. There is earthquake and tsunami warnings, and they're in Japan. So I was a little bit scared when I saw that. But I really like to be there. The Japanese, they are really organized. It is something amazing. When
They
we
are
had, okay, Rodrigo.
they are more organized than Brazilian people.
Just a little.
Just a little.
When you had a meeting at 8 o'clock, they start to arrive at 7:58, 2 minutes before. They are not so in advance, but 2 minutes they arrive, no talking. Everyone took their place and we can start the meeting. And we had a schedule for the ops, and sometimes we could save sometimes in the other activities, and I would like to reduce the agenda. No, we are planned for this, that's what will happen. Other thing that we saw here that during the World Cup, people take their garbage and things like that. There, I saw the president of the company cleaning the sink where he brushed her teeth. There no the cleaner people. The president was cleaning the sink, making everything was dry to the other one. And I'm Brazilian, and we are in a room for us. And I drank a lot of waters because and tea, and I ate some snacks, and I left my garbage on the table like I am used to do in meeting rooms in Brazil, because there is a cleaner professional that will remove everything. There, no. On the other day, the people that is assigned to cleaner cleans every place on the room, but the trash that I generated, I am responsible for that, not he or her, him
Hmm.
or her. So my trash was on the table. Everyone started to laugh at me because I was red. I was because so embarrassed when I saw my trash on the table. And they told me, this is good for you to learn. Here, who generate who generates the trash is responsible for
Well,
it.
that makes
It's
sense.
not the
Um,
other person.
did you notice the? Maybe you weren't there long enough, but maybe you noticed the like workaholic ism of Japan, where people work forever. People are just working and working and working and staying at their desks late. Is this something that you noticed? Is it
No, I didn't
no?
see that. Actually, one was the time to leave the company. Everyone
They
left.
left.
That's
Uh,
that's what I saw there. I think
I
that there is some local, some places, and some levels on the company that are really alcoholic, but I'm not
uh,
sure. The people that I saw there, 5 p.m., everyone left the company. Really, really
Ryan,
nice.
what I my father-in-law worked in Japan for a while, and he what he said that it's similar to what you said is that the people only went home after the boss went. Like
Mm.
in that company,
Mm-hmm.
i- in that company, like the workers, they only left after the boss left. Like they were supposed to leave at 5. If the boss stayed until 6, they felt not obligated, but they felt bad going home before the boss. So when the boss left, everybody left. But he said this was the habit of that company. So this is
Mm.
something similar.
hmm.
Yes, and when my very first day there, I have some instruction how to be with them, and the first to give if you have some interaction with other people, you need to look into their eyes, give business card or everything with both hands, and then to I don't know the word in English, but need to
Bow. Bow.
bow. And they told me there will be a line, there will be the president, the directors, and everyone. You need just to bow,
Yeah, bow.
but that's
BOW.
just bow a little because since you are a visitor there, you are the most important people. And the other one needs to bow a little down than you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you bow too much,
They will
the
fall
last
over.
one will kiss the floor because this is the line. So, and I noticed that because I was just a little, the president a little down, the director down, and then until the analyst that was there, he was
On the
most
floor,
down, down
almost.
than everyone.
Yeah.
It was really interesting.
Yeah.
And this thing that when you have interaction, it was really interesting because in cabs and the supermarket where it's not possible you have this interaction with both hands and things like that, there was a box. We put the money there, people took and then put there, so you have no interaction. Because if you have interaction, you need to be eyes into eyes, both hands, to do some reverence, to bow a little. I think it really interesting because it shows respect
Mm-hmm.
to the other.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And then what about China? You didn't go there for work. You went there like just because you were in the neighborhood, right? You were in Japan, so you thought I'll just go to China for a
No,
few
I was
days
in
to visit.
China first. Really curious because I was in Brazil and I had no plans to no, I haven't planned to travel on that time on my vacation. Then in Peixe Urbano, that site, I saw announcement, yes, an ad for a travel to China. It was in, I think, 2013, I
Okay.
think. And for 3,000 reais, a aero ticket and hotel 10 days. And oh,
Altogether, 3,000 reais
yes,
for flight,
yes.
hotel. Oh my gosh, that's a great deal. Good for
And
you.
I thought, if something went wrong, goes wrong, it's not too much to
Yeah.
lose. Then a friend of mine, like crazy like me, make an agreement and we went to there. Just we, I think, 3 months in advance to start to pay, and we went. It was really nice, really nice.
So how was it? What's the most surprising or the most shocking cultural shock thing that you had when you went to China?
To survive without communication, it's impossible to communicate.
So
Yeah,
even in Beijing, the like capital, right? That's the capital.
yes.
You had
After
trouble communicating.
Yes, and after the Olympics game, I think the Olympics there were in
Oh, eight.
2008,
Yeah.
and my boss told me that it was really hard to communicate. So for me to understand this as part of the adventure to be there, and it was really really hard. Uh, our first day, we spent 2 hours and a half to understand that you need to take a bus, you need to give the exact value of the ticket. They doesn't give change to you. I was in a hostel. We were in a hotel. The reception had a really good English, and I asked how to go to the Forbidden City and the Chinaman Square. I don't remember the name of that
Tiananmen. Tiananmen. Yeah.
Tiananmen Square. We they are in front of, and the receptionist told me, "Oh, it's really easy. There is a bus, line 10. I remember until today. This is the only thing that you'll see in not Chinese characters, the numbers. Take the line 10, and you will see. It's 10 minutes far from here, and you will see. Really easy. and we spent 2 hours and a half because you have 20 yuans. And when we arrived into the bus, tried to pay. The people said a lot of things in Chinese, but we understood that you should leave. And we went to everywhere in the tourist information, into the federal police, uh, to a homeless. We asked to everyone how to take a bus. And we come back to hotel, and the receptionist tell the same. You pay to the staff in the bus. You don't need to buy a ticket before because what think I thought was I should pay a ticket, not give the money, just the ticket, like some places in São Paulo. But when we were really tired, open a travel agency in the hotel that was closed, open, and I asked, "Oh, please help me. I would like to go to the Forbidden City. How much you, how much cost to go with you?" Then the receptionist heard, and then she was a little bit angry with me. "We don't need to buy anything. You need to give the money to the staff." Then I was angry. I thought, "No, you are lying. I when the bus come, then I took the money. I give the money, and she said, "Ah, no, you are with 20 yuans. It's one. You need to give the exact money." Then our problem solved on this. The second one is that everything is in Chinese characters. So I had the address of the hotel in our characters. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's a Latin character that you
Latin,
use. I don't
yeah,
know, but it's
Latin
our
characters.
character.
Yeah.
And they put in a card the address for me in Chinese characters. If you get if you get lost, please show this address. And in our visit in the Forbidden City, a Chinese lady approached us with a very good English. It's almost like to hear Portuguese after you don't hear any language that you can understand. It was almost the same to hear Portuguese. And he told us that she was an art student, and she would like to escort us. Well, okay. By the end, she told, "Oh, we have a unique painting here. Please buy and to help the students here." Okay, we bought. How much? It's 300 yuans. Okay, we bought. And he provided us the map of the subway with all the stations, with everything that you should do. And she was like an angel for us because we could do everything in Beijing, use the subway. It's really cheap and really nice. But the point is the unique painting we saw everywhere in
Ah,
Beijing, and 10 times less than we spent. But okay, it's worth because we had the
The help.
subway line.
yeah.
It was really good. And we asked Jules to receive the tea. We asked if we could pay with credit card. People says yes. Then when you try to pay, they ask that is only cash. It's a lot of miscommunication, but
Yes. So
really
my
interesting.
my grandfather was actually the first person to come to Brazil to visit me. Not my parents, not my sisters, my grandfather. And he came around that time, 2013, 2014, and he speaks nothing but English. He's like actively hostile to learning other languages.
Mhm.
Uh, but he came here anyways because he had a great deal on a resort in Guarujá.
Mhm.
So he came here, and I tried to tell him, look, Grandpa, at least learn like a few words, please, please. But no, he refused. So what I did to help him is I gave him an old iPhone that I had
Hmm.
and put a chip in it, and I said, look, here, just open up the Google Translate app and you can talk into it, and it'll translate whatever you want into Portuguese. Or you can give it to somebody, and they can talk into it, and it'll translate the Portuguese that they're speaking into English for you. And so for the 10 days, I think he was in Guarujá, that's how he survived because he didn't find anybody down there that spoke
Yeah.
English.
Yeah. Even São Paulo, it's hard.
Yeah.
You can imagine in a subway or train station, you try to speak in English. It's really hard.
In
But the
the like
chat,
very popular places, it's good. Like Paulista or the park, Ibirapuera, or Villa Madalena. Okay, fine. We'll
Ah,
find people.
you
But
mean you don't mean popular places. You mean rich places.
yeah, that's actually
Because
yes. That's what the touristic places, the rich places.
yes,
But the everywhere else, the vast majority of the city.
you know, it is the same there. And the Chinese that speaks a little bit English try to help us a lot. It was really good. I liked them. It was a really nice experience. Uh, in China and in Beijing and in Okinawa, I saw some sexism. The woman is not so well treated. For example, in Okinawa, uh, I arrived after to travel. I don't know how many hours I was exhausted, and there was two women in front of the elevator. Elevator come. I was waiting to them to come, and they were waiting for me. And the elevator closed the door. Nobody entered. And then when it came again, I entered because I was exhausted. I don't care if she will enter. When I entered, they entered after me.
yes.
And I heard that there, this is usual. The man is in front of the woman.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in China, I saw this, and when we arrived at the airport, we rent a car with a driver, and he took my luggage, not my friend, because she's a woman. She took my luggage. He put my luggage inside the car, and I took her. And he told me, "Oh, you help your wife." She was not my wife, but yes, it's common. Ah, okay, here it's not so common. And
So in Asia, chivalry really is dead. Then, huh?
yeah, and I
Yeah,
told
it
my
was.
friend, "You need to treat me very well here because you
Yes.
saw." And it is true that they like it just when they see different people, they like to take pictures. This is true because my friend, she's really tall and she's blonde, and everywhere a lot of teenagers approach us and please can you take a picture? Okay, it's really interesting. It's
Nice.
nice. It's nice. I recommend to someone that wanted to experience a new culture should go to Asia. There is really different. Other places, it's similar.
All right. So then the like last place, the last region that I want to ask you about is Africa. And if I remember
Oh, see
correctly,
my church.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
It's,
nice.
I
Is
bought there in South Africa.
in South Africa, right? So you
Yeah,
were in South Africa and Mozambique, right?
correct.
All right. So let's start with your shirt. Let's start in South Africa. What part of the country were you at, and what were you doing there?
Just Johannesburg. I was there in Johannesburg. And first time was right after the World Cup, was 2010, August. Really nice experience, really nice people, nice food. Uh, they are in the, I would say, the sensation of the World Cup. So it was really nice. Like to be in the party.
Yeah.
Um, I liked a lot, but I didn't do the tourism as I used to be, that exploring by myself. There I hired a woman and her car to do all the tourism I hired her as a tourist guide because we had no time, has just 4 days to spend there, and we don't know how safe could be. So, but I felt really safe there. Really interesting city. Nice food. The South Africa food is really good, really good,
What is
really
South
tasty.
African food?
I
What's
have no idea because I have one condition. I don't ask what I am eating. I don't know.
that's a
That's
little
better.
scary.
Yeah,
Yes,
oh,
I
that's
don't have.
better.
And I have my English until now. It's really poor in food. I read a lot of things that I have no idea what is there. And I don't ask. That's my condition. Don't ask. And I ask to other ones, please don't ask what you are eating. It's good, okay. Take a picture, then you do your search in Google. But the sauce, the flavor that their food is really nice. I don't know what they use to season that, but it is perfect. It's really nice. We can have different flavors in their food. Really, really nice. I loved there. People nice, and there is one thing. As a Brazilian, I felt very welcomed everywhere I was. I Yeah, everywhere. I felt really welcome. So I felt there people really good to talk, a lot of experience, and to see the scarce cicatrices. I don't know in English now.
Scars.
The scars
Scars.
Scars.
of the apartheid. It's little. It's hard to. There is some museums and people that lived there talking about that. So this is really sad to see that no long time ago you had this kind of experience
Hmm.
in humanity. It is really, really sad, but that's what you had there. But I really loved to be there. I felt really in a security place. And people helping, people trying to talk some words in Portuguese or Spanish because they mix it. That for me that's okay. It was really nice, and the city was well organized because it's right after the World Cup. I don't know how is now. And I went to there when I went to China. I spent 2 days in Johannesburg, and it's still the same feeling. City well organized, nice to visit, good places to eat, and it is important. People, I don't know if the correct word is they have proud, but they make a point. They like to talk about their feeling about the apartheid. They don't hire this. It's not something that they shame one and they don't talk. No, they talk, they explain, they try to explain what they felt, people that actually lived this time. It is interesting and really a, a rich cultural experience and to understand how dangerous some thoughts are and how this can become a tragedy.
And do you think? I mean, you were only there for 4 days, so it's hard to make a judgment, to make an idea about this. But do you think that there's been a lot of progress since the apartheid time on the whole like racism thing for them? Are people more integrated? Is the society more accepting? Is it a what did you think of your time there on this
Oh,
problem?
what I saw, it's they are integrated, but uh, what I just was with people that was not poor. I don't know if the poor are well integrated. I don't know, but people that I was talking about, and the restaurants and the museums, and this is something that a medium class here, they told me that the country did an effort to integrate, but I'm not so sure.
Hmm. And then the very last place that I want to talk about is Mozambique. And where exactly were you in Mozambique?
I was in a very small, I think it's a city, I don't know if I can tell this a city, but it's Mahomeu
Was it on the coast? Was it in the interior? Where in the
in
country?
interior, no, in countryside.
Okay.
Marromeu. Marromeu.
Mahomio.
Marromeu. We travel from São Paulo to Johannesburgo. Johannesburgo to Beira. Beira is a city in the coast. Then we took a very small plane to Marromeu.
Ah.
And when we arrived there, there is no airport, of course. And this small plane, he parking in a street on the city.
Hmm.
So he flies really close. Then people leave the street,
Yeah.
he take around, and then it play go around. Then it's landing. It's on a street. There we had security with gun with us all the time. I had no opportunity to walk, to talk with people because they told me it was not safe. The time that I was there, I think 2012, 2013, I think on that time, don't remember. The life uh, life expectancy, this is the word in
Yep.
English
That's it.
expression, was 37 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's
Is that because of violence or disease or
HIV. AIDS.
HIV?
AIDS. This
Okay.
was on that, and then there is violence as well. Uh, and what people told me that it, I think I don't remember well the numbers, but something like 8% of the no, 70% of the adults had the HIV, and the point is that people that went to do the test are people that thinks doesn't have that don't have the virus. So I am sure I don't have. I do the test. This kind of people, 80%, 70% tested positive.
So if you
So
know that you have the virus, you don't get the test.
yes, I'm
So it
sure that I have do my lifestyle, or
yeah.
I won't do the test.
So then the real rate must be closer to 80 or 90%.
Yes, they told a lot of child with HIV dying of that. We were in a company there, I think in other city, I don't remember. And the company was what provides everything there. So I was there when I saw some mothers crying, asking money to bury to do the funeral of her son with 6 years, 5 years, 10 years, and things like that. There I ate rat meat. That's why I don't ask what I am eating. I had this before, but we were there and we saw a lot of people hunting rats in the Zambezi River. Zambezi is a river, uh, a huge river there, and it's rat. It's not other kinds, rat. And we had a cooker to cooking to us from Tanzania, and a really nice food we had there. And one day she prepared a hamburger, really nice. We ate a lot. It's really good. It tastes very well, and we compliment a lot. Oh, congratulations! Our hamburger is very nice. It's the best one I never had. And one colleague asked, I didn't see here cows, oxen. What is this hamburger is made of? Uh, should not. It's a rat. I bought from the children in the Zambezi River. Oh gosh! But we loved. We told to her a lot that it was really good. And the other day she prepared rat hamburger again.
Again. So
And,
even when
and then we
you,
know that's
yeah.
about. Then we knew that
But
it was
did it taste different when you knew it was rat?
no,
No, it
no,
was still delicious. Yeah.
still delicious. But
Uh,
sometimes when you remember the image of the child hunting there, it was terrible, terrible. And uh, I was reading the accident reports because I was doing health and safety audit as well. And reading the accident reports, there there is a lot of accidents when hippopotamus ate the profession because there are the facilities and there are some sugarcane areas and the hills of the Zambezi River, and when it's they have some flood there, people sometimes have some confusion with the bridge, and sometimes they are on hippopotamus, and then they were eight. That
yeah.
was the major number of accidents there. People that
I've
were
read that the hippopotamus is the most dangerous animal in Africa.
yes, because they don't eat people because they are herbivores, but they defend themselves. Others think that they told me that cultural women work on the agriculture. They deal with the soil. It's not a man work. And then they had some sugarcane fields. And on the beginning, what they told me, though the low level of instruction, people there don't know understand very well what they have to do. But if something goes different of the procedure, it's hard to then think in alternatives. And the women went to the field and brought the kids together, and they go inside the field, and the kids were in the road, in the the road waiting their mothers, and it was usual a truck driver driving the truck. Sometimes they had some stone or a hole, and he lost the direction. The driver jumped off the truck, and the truck was with nobody, and get the children and killed a lot of kids. Then they had a policy not allowing people the women bring the the children to the field because they had a lot of deaths to that. Other things that now that you need to take pictures to get evidence. Before take pictures, you need to ask the permissions. To ask the permission, the people are if even if he or she were not on the picture, if you take a picture of something she or he was doing, because there is some religions that believe if you take a pictures, you capture the soul of these people in that picture. So you cannot take a picture of everyone. I had a slave there.
What?
They had a slave. There was a people because
What?
yeah, they have some punishment with whipper. They whipped people.
So
Uh,
what? Wait. What did this slave do? What?
yeah, it was what we tell a relation of work similar to slavery, but because they on that time I don't know now, they work and all what they work they spend because the company own the supermarket, the drugstore, and everything. So you have your money, but you spend in things on the company, so you don't have more money.
Um.
And
So they had
and
And
like
they get whipped.
company. They
hmm?
had company stores.
Yeah.
So the people were getting paid with company money to spend in the company stores.
Yeah,
And
and
they get whipped.
there is yes, and there is some punishment using the whipper, so they were whipped.
Okay.
Oh,
Uh,
so it's not
and
similar to slavery. It is
It
yeah,
is
slavery,
slavery.
just
but
a
they have
little different.
but they have some money. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
okay,
Uh,
it's complicated, and he was taking care of us. We are in a house inside the company, and he was there to do everything to us. So
he
he
would like
carried
clean
our
for
luggage.
you.
He when we tried to get some water, he bring the water to us. To exchange the channel on TV, he did this for us. If I cross my legs and my flip flop went to the floor, he took my flip flop and put my foot. And when the first day that he was doing everything to us, we felt really uncomfortable with that. And I told to him, no, it's not necessary to be here all the time. And he was really worried. Oh, I'm not doing a good job. Why you don't want me here? Then we discovered that if we complain about that, he could be whipped. So when you understand that, okay, be here, and he did everything to us, everything.
So
The
then,
small things and the big everything.
how long were you there? How long did
10
you?
days.
10
10 days.
days. So then by the end of 10 days, had it become, well, maybe not normal, but were you less embarrassed by having a slave?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
After,
Isn't that weird?
yet, when I arrived in South Africa, I was thinking, oh my God, bro, what
Oh my
happened
god.
there? Because in the first day it was really awkward. The second, not okay. But after that, okay, you have some people to do everything. You
Yeah.
everything.
So it took you 3 days to go from
Yeah,
slavery is bad to
okay,
slavery.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what we heard there that these these people are really happy to be there because they have a house, they have food, they have clothes, they have education. Other thing that they told me it's about the prejudice doing the money. For example, child with from families with money doesn't don't stud go to the school with people doesn't have money. So
Hmm.
during the morning, the the clothes, the uniform to go there, it's uniform.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The uniform was really expensive, so only rich child can study during the morning. In the afternoon, the uniform was not so expensive, so the medium class study. And during the night, doesn't need don't need to use the uniform, so everyone can start. So they don't mix for any reason.
Interesting.
It was interesting and scared and wow. And this is, I think, ah, 2010 was the first time that went to 2010. The
Yeah.
first time that was Johannesburg was going to that. It was 2010. 11 years ago, I lived with a slave.
Well, Rodrigo, do you have any other questions about his travels before we wrap up with a few questions?
No, no, not
No.
not really. Not
Okay.
really.
So,
I
then
think
what I
this.
want to
Sorry, Ryan. I think this should be the title of the
I lived
video.
with the slave.
10 years ago, I lived with a slave.
Yeah.
This would be perfect.
Yeah, yeah. So to wrap up, I am curious how all of your travels, all these experiences have impacted you, have changed you, and I guess a good way to think about it is how, like, what are some things about your hometown, like Santo Andre, São Paulo, that maybe you've either gained a new appreciation for, you see, in the past I didn't like this thing, I didn't care about this thing, but now that I've seen the rest of the world, yeah, I really love that now. Or the opposite, some things that now you understand, yeah, I really need to criticize this more, this is a problem that before I didn't understand. What are some things about Brazil or Sao Paulo, Santo Andre that you've kind of switched your perspective on since you've been to all these places?
I learned to give more value for my country and for my city because I went to really poor country cities and to really developed countries, and every place has its own problem. So that thing that okay, I am in US or I'm in Europe, oh, that's the paradise. No, everywhere has his its own problems. So this is something nice to live. Other thing, there is a lot of people and countries and cities really, really poor with no conditions, and we live in very nice place. So that's the first thing that start to change my mind. I live and in a place that has a lot of problems, but it's really nice to live. And the problems that you have there in Santo Andre, because now in Belém, it's similar with other traffic. We have traffic problems everywhere. Safety. I had the problem safety in Paris. I have I had safety problems in Santiago, Chile. So okay, sometimes not the same, but you still have issues. Uh, and I think that this is the the globe. It's almost the same. It's really likely, really similar. And other thing that it was important to me is how small we are in this world, because we have a lot of things happening in the same time, different things, and we are really small part of that.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. I think for me, like, I haven't traveled to a lot of places. I've really only been in the United States and Brazil.
Hmm.
That's it. Um, but living outside of my home country makes me appreciate not exactly the United States, but the tiny little town that I grew up in
Hmm.
so much more. Like, I don't really miss America when I miss where I came from. I miss my tiny little town of Canby and
Hmm.
just the little specific things that are there that are dumb, that are really stupid. Like the little park in the city that has a cute gazebo, and the dads of the town would do a concert in the summer there. I miss it.
Yeah.
It's dumb and stupid, but that's what I miss.
Yes, and the other thing, as I told you in the beginning, I really felt very welcome everywhere, but it, I felt that's not my home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't belong to that place. That's the point. When we arrive in Brazil, okay, I'm home now. And again, I didn't had any problem to be Brazilian outside in any country, even in France, where people tell tells a lot that there the French are not so welcome. You have problems if you don't speak French. I didn't have any problem there. I felt really welcome there, but it's not my home. That's the point.
Yeah.
I think the same for you.
There's no place like home, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Rodrigo, do you have anything else to ask?
No, no. Just a simple question. You said, Alessandro, that Asia is the most different, culturally speaking, is the most different place compared to all the other cities. Because when you travel around Europe, America, uh, the West, it's everything is kind of similar. But when you go to Asia, it's completely different. Uh, and what is the most similar to Brazil? What is a country or a place that you've been to that you think it's the most similar to Brazil?
Hmm. I think South Africa, because
Yeah.
you have. I think the South Africa because you have some
I would
some similarities.
I would think so because Brazil was discovered by Europeans,
Mm-hmm.
discovered by
Yeah.
Europeans. But our culture, I feel our culture more African than
Yeah.
European.
Yes, we have
Or
nothing of European here.
no, African and Native American
Mm-hmm.
than European. European, we have details, but the culture, like the way we behave, the way it's of course Latin, Native American, and African too. Uh, so I was wondering the place that was closest in like culturally speaking.
Yes, I think South Africa. When
Nice.
I was there, I felt sometimes like I was in São Paulo,
Nice.
in
Very
Johannesburg.
nice.
That's cool. It's cool. I'll have
Yeah.
to go to South Africa now.
Yeah.
I will go. We are planning. Me and myself, we are planning to go there, but not Johannesburg. To go to Cape Town
Cape Town.
and other cities. Yes,
Mhm.
this is a place that we intend to visit.
Very nice. Cool. And do you have any questions for either of us? We've been asking you questions all day. Do you have anything you want to ask either of us?
No.
Cool. Well, then, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for the
It was
invitation.
Really,
I like
really,
to talk.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
You're Brazilian,
Very
so
nice.
that fits.
Yeah.
I am Brazilian, and my grandparents were Italians.
Oh my gosh, that's so much talking.
Yes.
And thanks everybody who watched. I know we got some comments here from Twitch, and I think there's one from YouTube even. So big day for us. Lots of viewers. And check us out all over the internets. And our next show isn't planned yet, but we're gonna have somebody cool, I'm sure. Probably not as cool as Alessandro, but we'll see. We'll try.
No, that would be difficult.
So, anyway, thanks for watching. Thank you, Alessandro. And until next time, have a great week, everybody, and stay safe. All right.
Thank you.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye bye.